All right, I'm Dr. Castle, and the purpose of this video is just to briefly go over the syllabus so that you know what to expect for Chem 352 in the upcoming semester. So I have the syllabus here on the screen, and it's available on Learning Suite. I encourage you to download the syllabus as well as to read the syllabus. I have my office hours listed here at the top, and that's the first thing I want to do is encourage you to attend my office hours and ask questions about the material. Sometimes students are shy or intimidated about coming to visit a professor during office hours. Don't be intimidated. I'm really a nice person. I'm not going to be mean to you in my office hours. I'm just going to answer your questions. So please take advantage of that opportunity. Here below the office hours, you can see our learning outcomes. These are the things you're going to be learning in Chem 352. In general, it is going to build on what you learned in Chem 351. The textbook is the same as the one we used for 351 if you took that class here at BYU. And I sent you an email earlier about the various scenarios related to the textbook, so hopefully you have access to that. Here we have the schedule for reading the textbook, or the schedule that we will be covering the various chapters in the textbook during the semester. And you'll note that we start in chapter 13, we finish in chapter 30, and we essentially cover the chapters in order, with one exception. We are going to move chapter 28 forward a little bit. That will help with an assignment that we're going to have later in the semester to move that up. So one of the strengths of our textbook is it is very well organized, and the sequence of the material is very good. So we're just going to go in order, not only from chapter to chapter, but also within each chapter. So to know what part of the textbook you should read before a given class period, you just need to consider how many days we're going to spend covering a chapter. So for chapter 13, we're going to take 3 days. We're going to cover that chapter during the first week of the semester. So by Monday, you should have the first third of the chapter read. By Wednesday, you should have the middle third of the chapter read. And by Friday, you should have the final third of the chapter read. So, so just looking at the number of days and how many days we're spending on each chapter will tell you what sections you need to read in order to be prepared for class. And then you can see that we have 4 exams. Please note the dates of those exams in your calendar. Please note that exam number 3, I believe, is the only exam of the semester that closes on a Monday. Hopefully you've been here at BYU long enough to know that the testing center closes earlier on Monday than it does on other days, okay? So make sure that you get into the testing center. If you're taking it on the last day, which I don't advise, but if you do, please make sure you're into the testing center in a sufficient time to finish before they close. Another thing I'd like you to notice here is the final exam. The final exam, unlike the regular exams, is given in class. And you need to take the final exam at the time assigned for your class. We have 2 classes, the 9 a.m. and the 10 a.m. classes that I'm teaching this semester. But for the final exam, we only have enough capacity in the room or rooms for the students who are registered for that time to take it. So you need to be here at the time and date of your final exam. So please don't make your flight plans earlier than the day that you are scheduled to take the final exam for the 9 a.m. class, Saturday, April 20th, and the 10 a.m. class, Tuesday, April 23rd. The final exam is a standardized exam written by the American Chemical Society, and we'll talk more about that later on in the semester. So here you can see the assignments that we will have and the points that are allocated to those assignments. We will have some in-class quizzes. Those quizzes are pop quizzes. They are not announced. They will always be held at the beginning of class. So if class begins and I start lecturing, you will know that there will not be a quiz that day. Okay. The purpose of having the quizzes unannounced is not to give you stress and anxiety. Rather, it is to give you an extra incentive to be prepared to come to class. In my years of teaching organic chemistry, I have learned that the possibility of having a quiz is a powerful motivating factor for students to come prepared to class. So it's actually beneficial to you to have these unannounced quizzes. The quizzes will only cover material that we have gone over in previous lectures. It will not cover any new material that we're going to go over that day in class, okay? So you can be assured we will not have a quiz on Monday, the first day of class, but any day after that, we could have a quiz that would cover the material that we learned in previous lecture or lectures. Those quizzes are designed to be of the same difficulty level of the easiest homework problems in the book. The homework problems in the book can be divided into easy, medium, and difficult. The questions that are within the chapters are the easier homework problems. And so if you are reading the book and working the homework problems that are within the chapters as you were reading, then you should be prepared for the quizzes. They are also short problems, so we'll typically take about 5 minutes at the beginning of class to complete quizzes on the days that we have quizzes. You'll see that quizzes are 10 points each. They're worth 50 points total, and we will have 6 or more quizzes. What that means is that you will be able to drop at least one of your quizzes and possibly more. So when I say 6 or more, the total number of quizzes is not known at this time. As the semester progresses, I will determine when is a good time to have a quiz. I will determine roughly how many quizzes we need. That kind of changes from semester to semester and class to class. But you will have 6 quizzes and very, very likely more than 6 quizzes, giving you at least one and possibly more than one opportunity to drop a lowest quiz score. We will also have iClickers. There is a separate handout on Learning Suite under the assignments. If you go under the content tab, there is an assignments page. And one of the documents on the assignments page explains the iClickers. We don't use the actual iClickers. We use the iClicker app. So you need a subscription to that app. And you can use a phone or a tablet or a computer, but it has to be a device where the location can be broadcast. So your device has to be in the classroom in order for it to work. And so it has to be able to show its location for you to participate in the iClicker quizzes. We'll start those on Wednesday. We won't have any on Monday. We may or may not have them on Wednesday because we won't have iClicker quizzes every lecture. Some lectures will have them, other lectures we won't. It just depends on the nature of the material that we are covering on those days. But the handout will give you more details. But as I mentioned, please make sure you get a subscription to the app, not the physical iClickers. However, if you do have a physical iClicker that you've used in other classes, I believe it is possible, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe it is possible for you to use the serial number on the back of that physical iClicker to sign up for a subscription and that you don't have to pay the additional charge. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but if you do have a physical iClicker, please try to use that to sign up for the subscription as opposed to buying one. And if you have any questions about the iClickers, please let me know. Our regular exams, 4 of them, 100 points each. Those exams are going to be a mixture of multiple choice and free response. We will have a sample exam that will be posted on Learning Suite before the first exam so that you will get an idea of the length of the exam, the format of the exam, the types of questions that you can anticipate seeing. We will have two take-home assignments towards the end of the semester, a synthesis assignment and a take-home quiz, and I'll give more details on that later on. And then, as I mentioned, the final exam in class, it's a standardized final, all multiple choice. That is worth 200 points or twice the number of a regular exam. You'll see that homework is not factored into this grading, but we do have homework. Our homework, there's a handout on the homework on Learning Suite, also on that assignments page that I encourage you to take a look at. We've assigned roughly half the homework problems in the textbook. That's not because the unassigned half are bad problems. That's just to make the workload more manageable so that you can still have a life outside of organic chemistry while getting adequately prepared for our exams. But you'll work those problems. You'll turn that in at the end of the class. Electronic submission is possible, but you have to follow the instructions in the handout precisely. So if you were planning on submitting your homework electronically, please make sure you follow these instructions. Briefly, you need to have each chapter's homework in a separate file. If they're all in one file, it is much too large for us to grade. So you have to put each chapter in a separate file in order for your electronic homework to count. Homework is worth 6 points, which doesn't seem like much, but it's an important 6 points because typically about 10% of the class at the end of the semester will be within 6 points of the next higher grade. And so what we do is once we curve the class, once we have the grade ranges assigned, the percentages, the number of points for each letter grade, we look at all the students who are within 6 points of getting the next higher letter grade, and then we'll grade their homework. It's graded based on percent completion. If you completed enough of the homework problems to get enough points to earn the higher grade, then that's what you will get, okay? The homework is more valuable than just these 6 points because the homework problems provide excellent preparation for the exams. So I strongly encourage you to do the homework. There's a tendency, since it's worth 6 points, to say, oh, it's not that important. It is very important. Historically, students have been very, very good about doing the homework. Usually, almost all the students in the class do the homework. So I encourage you to do that as well. Over here, you will see an approximate percentage of students that typically earn each letter grade in this class. I want to emphasize that this is just approximate and it is not written in stone, okay? These percentages are just based on typical BYU Chem 352 classes. Usually in a BYU Chem 352 class, roughly 25% of the students end up in the A range, roughly 30% end up in the B range, roughly 35% end up in the C range, and a very small percentage end up in the D or the E range. But as I mentioned, that is not set in stone. My promise to you is that every single student who earns an A is going to receive an A in this class. So if all of you earn 90% or better of the points at the end of the semester, then every single one of you will get an A or an A minus. Okay, that is my promise to you. That's never happened before, so it's not likely, but it is possible. But I don't want you to think that you are in competition with your classmates for a defined number of A's. That is simply not the case. All of you can get A's if you earn A's. And so I want you to work together. I want you to study together. I want you to help each other so that you can do the best that you possibly can. And I'm on your side. My goal is for all of you to learn organic chemistry. And so I'm going to help you. And I would love for all of you to earn A's. I think that would be fantastic. All right. So we've talked about some of these topics from the second page of the syllabus already. But let's just go over a few of them in more detail. As I mentioned, there's a handout explaining how the iClickers work, how to register for them, how to sign up for the class, how the grading works. Please make sure you do that. Please make sure you're registered and ready to go by Wednesday. I'll note that it is your responsibility to bring your device and make sure that it has proper battery power. There is a set of online tutorials known as the Bacon quizzes. That stands for Biology and Chemistry Online Notes. There is a handout on those. Those are optional. They are run by a friend of mine who works at UCLA. They charge a small fee, I believe it's $6, that just covers the cost of maintaining those quizzes on their servers at UCLA. They are optional, but they do provide a nice way of reviewing for exams. And so you're welcome to use them. If you choose to sign up for the Bacon quizzes, your average on the Bacon quizzes can replace your lowest quiz score. So that's another way to replace a lowest quiz score. As far as makeup quizzes or exams, they are only allowed in a narrow set of circumstances: catastrophic events defined as illness, defined as some kind of family emergency, or a university approved trip if you are on an athletic team or a performing arts group. But please note that prior permission from me is essential if it is a trip, okay? So please make sure you're in communication with me if you have a university approved trip that would cause you to miss an exam or a quiz, okay? The final exam will not be given early. It will be given at the time scheduled. So again, please make sure you are here at that time. We have an extra credit assignment. It is submission of a music video, usually a parody of a song highlighting one or more aspects of organic chemistry. There's also a handout describing that, and you can take a look at that on Learning Suite. Many students have found that to be a fun assignment, a way to get together in groups and do something fun related to organic chemistry. Our recitations will be held on Tuesdays. We have recitations at 8, 9, 10, and noon. And you do not have to attend the recitation you're registered for. You may attend any recitation that you want. So if you end up forming a study group and you want to attend a recitation with your study group, you're welcome to do so. We have excellent TAs this semester. The recitations will be outstanding. They are optional, but they are highly recommended. They should be very helpful to you. We have a tutorial lab where the TAs will staff it. The hours will be posted once we get it set up. The tutorial lab works best for you to go there when you have specific questions about homework problems, but please take advantage of that. And we have a computer lab that has some software that can be helpful. All right, so helpful hints for success in the class. Chem 352 builds on what you learned in Chem 351, but it has more reactions, significantly more reactions actually than Chem 351. So it is essential for you to have good study habits to be successful. In Chem 351, you learn some fundamental principles and then also learn some reactions. In Chem 352, we are going to apply those principles to a larger set of reactions, okay? So it's a lot of material. You have to have excellent study habits. There is no magic formula for success in learning organic chemistry. However, there is a simple formula for success. That simple formula involves reading the textbook prior to coming to class. I've already gone over the schedule and explained to you how to do that, okay? As you're reading the textbook, write down questions, things you don't understand, so that when you come to class and we're covering that material, you're paying extra attention when we cover those topics that you didn't understand well when you read them. Ask questions. I encourage students to ask questions during the lectures, okay? The more you participate in class, the more you're going to get out of the class, okay? So be an active participant, ask questions, make sure you're taking notes. That will help you. And then work the homework problems. Organic chemistry is a problem-solving discipline. So you have to work the homework problems in order to get practice to enable you to solve the problems that you will find on the exams. And then the final piece of the puzzle is getting feedback on the homework problems that you don't understand. The solutions manual is available to you. I encourage you to look up the answers to the homework problems after you have worked them yourself. And then I encourage you to get help from me or from the TAs if you don't understand why you're missing certain problems, okay? So make sure you get feedback. Other things that will help you, study groups, working together with your classmates. Sometimes students tell me that they understood the material, but they didn't do well on an exam. Usually what that means is the students had a certain level of understanding, but they didn't have a deep enough level of understanding of the material. In organic chemistry, it's not sufficient to read something in a book or hear something in a class and say, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's not a deep enough level of understanding. You have to be able to explain the concepts clearly to other people and use those concepts to solve problems. That's when you have a deep enough level of understanding to do well on exams. So if you form study groups, you can talk to each other and take turns explaining the concepts to each other and make sure that your understanding is deep enough. And then, of course, also work the problems. Office hours, TAs, those sorts of things will also help you prepare for the exams and be ready for them. Flashcards can also be very helpful. They can be very helpful for studying reactions. You can talk to me or the TAs for suggestions on how to make flashcards. So again, no magic formula. It does take a lot of work, but there is a simple formula for success. All right, well, that is all that I have for today. I look forward to meeting you on Monday. I look forward to working with you throughout the semester to learn organic chemistry. And more than anything, I hope I convince you that organic chemistry is fun. I enjoy organic chemistry. I think I have the greatest job on earth because I get to do something that I think is fun, and that is teach organic chemistry. And hopefully, at least some of you will find that learning organic chemistry can be fun as well. Thank you.